And I'm going to talk about the art of worrying about thing that doesn't exist. The thing is overthinking. What is overthinking? Overthinking is when you repetitively dwell on the same thought over and over again, constantly, until it disrupts your life completely. Although overthinking isn't a disorder by itself, it is a cause of other mental illnesses such as depression or anxiety disorders. What causes these overthinking, as we said? There are various reasons. Firstly, it's trauma. Why trauma? When you experience something previously in your life, something that has left a scar in your heart or in your mind, you will constantly think about it over and over again. You will be scared to make decisions. That's the other reason that comes forward why people overthink. That's fear. When you have gone through a trauma, it escalates to being fearful of something. Logically speaking, if I'm fearful of the dark or I'm scared of the dark, I will overthink before going into a dark place. I would start thinking, what if something happens to me in the dark place? What would happen to me if I go into there? I start overthinking. The third reason why people overthink is perfectionism. No one in this room can disagree that they do not want to become perfect. Everyone seated over here wants to be flawless, and so do I. But we just need to accept the fact that none of us are perfect. We all have some flaws in us. We can make those flaws better, but we cannot completely be flawless. Even though I'm speaking right now over here, I might have some flaws while I'm speaking. We all aren't perfect. We can be better people, but aren't perfect. And we need to accept this fact and not to overthink. And lastly, other people overthink because they are intolerant to uncertainty. What do I mean by this? It is simple as saying when a person is allergic to pollen, let's say, they cannot stand pollen. They get allergic, they start sneezing, they start puffing up. They are simply allergic to it. Same way, people who overthink, some of them are intolerant to uncertainty. They can't stand being uncertain. I talked about trauma, overthinking on trauma. I'm going to talk about this mainly also. When you overthink on trauma, it can escalate to being PTSD. Statistics say that about 3 to 15% of girls and about 1 to 6% of boys develop PTSD that is caused from overthinking on the trauma. We might think that 6% is a very little number considering the amount of population around the world for boys. But when I tell you the number is huge, it's actually huge. 238,214,303 boys suffer from PTSD caused from trauma and overthinking over the trauma. So, overthinking is more than just a nuisance. Science reveals that thinking too much can take a toll on your thinking and general well-being as well. How? The first way, it may trigger other mental illnesses. How? Overthinking can have a bidirectional relationship with mental health issues. Stressful events, depression, and anxiety can make people more prone to overthinking, which contributes to other worse mental illnesses, such as worse stress, anxiety, and depression. That's number one. Number two, it interferes with problem-solving ability. Overthinkers believe that rehearsing certain situations in their head help them overcome them, but that's not true. Overanalyzing interferes with one's ability to solve problems. Such things, such as even making a decision of going out, a place to eat, what to wear, can be affected by overthinking. And lastly, it disrupts your sleep. How? If you're an overthinker, you probably face sleep problems. This is because your body is constantly ruminating and worrying on things that you have no control of or very little control of. How do you get rid of this overthinking, or how do you reduce it? Step one, step back and look at how you're responding, how you're reacting to it, how you're feeling. Are you feeling irritated? Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling guilty? Identify it, because having self-awareness is the very key to changing your mindset. Number two, find a distraction. Shut down overthinking by involving yourself in an activity that you personally enjoy. Others are fishing, others are maybe are enthusiasts about cars. Distract yourself from it. And with that, I would like to conclude by saying that do not overthink, because in the end, it just disrupts you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.